What can employers do to prevent harassment in the workplace? Over the course of the last couple years and continuing currently, there has been a tremendous amount of media coverage with regard to harassment in the workplace. Employers now must take allegations of harassment very seriously. It cannot be ignored. And the training that should be provided by employers can't simply be a check off of the box on the things to do list. There has to be meaningful training provided to employees and to supervisory personnel within the workplace. With regard to employees, I find that seminar training is the best tool to provide employees with, so that they, number one, understand what is and what is not harassment. Today, a lot of people think that they're being harassed simply because they're being told what to do, how to do it, what time to get into work. That's not harassment. Harassment is a very, very specific, has a very specific legal definition, and employees need to understand what that means. Because number one, it needs to be dealt with and eradicated from the workplace, but more importantly, employees need to make sure that they're not the ones engaging in the conduct. I find that many times harassment isn't necessarily coming from a place of malice. It is coming from a place of ignorance. So if employees understand what's appropriate workplace behavior by virtue of a seminar, which is collaborative, I find that that's the best way to train employees. Most importantly, employees need to understand what they need to do if they are being harassed or if they witness harassment in the workplace. Who do they report to, and what can they expect in the investigation process? With regard to supervisors, I find that it's important to train supervisors as well. Supervisors and upper level management needs to understand, they need to know how to identify harassment and then what to do once it's identified. How do you deal with it? It's got to be dealt with immediately, and it's got to be dealt with in a meaningful way. So what does that mean? You have to go through the investigative process and explain what to do and what not to do during an investigation, how to keep the allegations as confidential as possible, and then obviously most importantly dealing with it if in fact it is determined that harassment has occurred. And these things are extremely important in terms of making sure that it doesn't happen again. And most importantly, if it is dealt with effectively within the workplace, if at some point in time litigation occurs, the employer certainly has a defense to assert in the course of the litigation by demonstrating that it did in fact take meaningful steps to eradicate the harassment when it occurred.